Hurry, I need your help. My manufacturer gave me an extension on the Pariah plush pre-orders. We haven't reached the 100 unit requirement yet, but we might be able to. Pre-orders end on Monday, September 9th at 11:59 EST. There's a link in the description and pinned comment. This is your last chance to order Pariah plushie if you want one. And if you're unable to get a plush, I totally understand, but if you would like to still support the campaign, please consider sharing the page or this video. Thank you! Hello everyone, I'm Rebecca, and it's time once again for another I Draw Your OC video. But this one is going to be unlike any other OC video I've done. You see, there are always so many amazing characters that I wish I could draw, but I usually only end up getting to draw about 2 or 3 of them. However, I had the thought, what if I gave myself a time limit and tried to draw as many characters as I could within that amount of time? I average about 6 hours of footage for my YouTube videos, so I'm going to give myself 6 hours to draw a bunch of characters. I want these illustrations to still be semi-finished, like they have some coloring and shading, so my goal will be to get the drawings done within 45 minutes. I'm hoping that will be enough time. Oh, also, all of the characters I'll be drawing were randomly picked. I randomly chose from each entry method being email, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Anyways, let's jump into drawing. The first character I'm drawing is named Vincent. He is the bassist in a rock band. He often looks intimidating when focusing on playing, but is actually very kind, and he doesn't understand why he is labeled as the bad boy by fans. For all of these illustrations, I'm keeping them as simple headshots, and they'll mostly be confined to a square, but I will allow for some details to stick out of the square to make it interesting. For this pose, I went with one similar to the original drawing. I decided to draw him with a kinda nervous smile. My thought was maybe he was interacting with a fan or something. I do like the concept that fans think he's a bad boy, but he's actually really nice and isn't a bad boy. For his necklaces, I used a pattern brush to make them. I was going back and forth as to if I wanted to use these, since they may stick out from the rest of the sketch lines, but I felt like I didn't have time to draw chains by hand, so I decided to use them anyways. I was definitely rushing and slightly panicking for this picture. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to do everything I wanted in only 45 minutes. Also, for reference, my usual headshot drawings take me on average like 3 hours. So 45 minutes is a lot less. Next, I'm moving on to the base colors. I simply just selected the colors from the reference and filled them in with the paint bucket tool. Because my lines are sketchy, I do have to do a decent amount of cleanup, but thankfully it wasn't too tedious. For the shading, I'll mostly be using a layer set to multiply, and I'll shade the different areas with the same magenta color. I'm going to have the light be coming from the right, so we will get a lot of shadows on the left side of his face. To make the cell shading feel more fancy and not as flat, I'll often fade it out a bit with a soft eraser set to a low opacity. For the colors of the lighting, I'm mostly going to be using a warm color palette. It's one that I tend to gravitate towards, so it's kind of just what came out naturally as I was trying to work at a fast speed. I finish up by adding a background color, some filters, as well as adding the purple to his hair. I'm really glad I remembered to add the purple because I almost forgot about it. I was able to use the layer mode to kind of add the purple on top of the hair. And here's my drawing of Vincent. For this one, I worked right up to the 45-minute mark, and overall, I think it turned out not too bad. The next character I'm drawing is Colette. She is a zombie fox girl who has big dreams of becoming a singing idol, but doing this is not easy due to her unsettling appearance. Despite this, she still persists and tries her best to achieve her dreams. For Colette, I will be drawing her in front view. I'll just say now, for a lot of these drawings, I'm drawing them in a similar view to their submitted drawing. Because I am trying to work really fast, I don't have a ton of time to envision what certain details look like at different angles, and it's easier to go off of the drawing and draw it in a similar view. Because I did rush the previous picture quite a lot, I was actually able to slow down as I reached the 45-minute mark for that picture. So for this picture, I was like, okay, I'm fine. I can take my time a little bit more. I also got a little bit cocky and turned on a YouTube video to listen to. I worked a bit slower when doing the sketching, and so once I finally got to the coloring and rendering, I had like 17 minutes left and really had to rush. After working on this drawing, I didn't allow myself to listen to YouTube videos. Instead, I would only turn on music in the background, and I tried to turn on faster paced music to get me in the right kind of mood. For the coloring this time, I wanted to try going with maybe a slightly off-putting lighting. So I'm mostly going to have the character be backlit while having some pinkish lighting coming from above. Also, the original artist did request I keep her right eye like it is in the example because Colette has an eye condition called exotropia. I'm sorry if I said it wrong. And I do apologize that I did draw the eye a bit wrong. I thought I only had to have the eye be partially closed. But after drawing, I looked up exotropia and I learned that I should have had the eye looking a different direction as well. And it technically put me over the 45-minute mark, but I decided to go back and fix the eye. And I also added the bite mark to the left ear since I forgot to add it. I'm trying my best to get details in place, but I do apologize if I missed some. And I just noticed I forgot her hair accessories. How did I miss those? I'm so sorry. I seriously don't know how I didn't see those till now. Well, here's my drawing of Colette. I hope the creator likes the drawing even though I did miss some details. And thank you for submitting your character. This next character was submitted by Gatsoli. This is her persona, Irene, and she is a goblin. This design is very fun and unique. I don't think I've ever drawn a goblin before. For this drawing, I am going with a 3/4 view that is slightly from above. I do apologize that I do have to really speed through these drawings. Since I'm drawing a lot of characters, I only have enough time to talk about each drawing for a couple of minutes. I do have to say though, doing this was a lot of fun. Even though the work process was a faster pace and maybe a little bit more stressful, it was kind of fun just popping out a drawing in 45 minutes. I'm so used to having time to nitpick things and fuss over details, but with this I just had to go and try my best. I couldn't worry too much about mistakes or making things perfect, and so the time limit actually felt kind of freeing in a way. For the coloring, I kept it fairly simple. There was a picture of Irene that was super cool and had a bunch of colors, and it made me really want to use a bunch of colors too. But I knew that I did not have time for this, so I opted for more basic colors. Also, I did forget to add the spots on her face, but I decided to add them in after filming. As I'm editing and looking at the characters and my drawings, I'm noticing the things that I missed. I'm fairly pleased with how the hair shading turned out for this picture. I liked the way the forms turned out. I feel like the way I shade hair changes for each piece and what I felt like I could get done. If I had more time, I'd try to go a little bit more fancy, and if I was kind of cutting close to the time limit, it would be really simple. Oh, and I know I said I was keeping the coloring simple, but I did decide to have a bit of fun with the colors. I tried to add some different colors to the eyes, and I added a gradient with different colors, and also added a bit of a blue bounce light. And here's my drawing of Irene. I hope you like it, Gatsuli. I had a lot of fun drawing her. This character was submitted by Greta, and her name is Finn. I tried asking the creator what Finn was, but they didn't get back to me. I'm assuming she's a mermaid, but parts of me wonders if she is a genie. But I'm thinking more mermaid since her name is Finn. So for this character, I felt like my chibi elf style would better suit it. If you don't know, I have a secondary style that's simpler and chibi-like. I have a whole universe of characters that I draw in this way, and I felt like it would work well with Finn. Because this drawing is being drawn in the style, I was actually able to get it done really fast, and it actually looks pretty finished. I always knew drawing in my chibi elf style was faster, but I never really realized just how much faster it was. Instead of 45 minutes, I spent about 25 minutes on this picture, and I was even starting to take my time towards the end of the process. I did decide to stylize some details in my own way, and I'm sorry if I interpreted some parts wrong. I couldn't really tell what all of these lines were on her face. I did draw them, but I kind of just used them as a way to indicate the nose. I did also tweak the colors just a little bit to make them a little bit more complementary. I hope that's okay. So here's my drawing of Finn. Like I said, it's on the simpler side, but I hope you still like it, Greta. This next character was submitted by Silver Yima Art, and this is their OC Ariel. Ariel is the kind of girl who takes everyone else's problems on and goes through her own pain silently. Her MBTI is INFJ. That's the same as me. Now, this drawing is on the more complicated side, and it's probably the most complicated out of the ones I drew today. Since in the original picture, Ariel is holding a butterfly, I also wanted to have my drawing hold a butterfly. Also, I love Ariel's outfit. It's so cute and kind of classy. I love the accessories, and thankfully I remembered to draw them this time. I do want to say that before I would start filming, I would kind of plan out what I was going to be drawing. In this case, I had made my own reference using 3D models, and I had that open in another window. That way I had something to kind of work off of to help me draw faster. I didn't want to use the 45 minutes also trying to figure out how I was going to be drawing the character. That just sounded too chaotic. I don't really like trying to come up with ideas under pressure. Also, I found a way to make filling in the base colors and all the tiny areas be a bit quicker. Like I said before, because my drawings are sketchy, filling in the base colors is a bit harder because there are often a lot of smaller areas within the sketchy lines. However, what I started doing is I would fill in the majority of the colors, and then I would use the shrink selection tool to select the character. Then on a layer under all my other layers, I used a darker color that is similar to the rest of the color palette and apply it under the character. This fills in all the little white gaps and it's super quick and easy. This time around for the lighting, I went in with my standard shading first. I also based the hair shading off of the original picture. I really liked the blue and pop a yellow. It's really fun. Then in a bit after I get all the shading in place, I apply a muted color set to multiply on top of the character and add a rim light around the character. I thought this would make the lighting feel kind of dreamy. I do have to say, for a lot of the pictures, I do kind of lean into having them backlit. It's just such an easy way to make a picture look fancy in a short amount of time. And here's my finished drawing of Ariel. I'm pleased with how it turned out, and thank you so much for letting me draw her Silver Yima art. This character was submitted by Crazy Rosie. The character is a superhero named 9V. Based off of her name and design, she seems to have lightning powers. So I was trying my best to draw the characters in different views, and I had already used front view and 3/4 view a good amount. So for 9V, I decided to go with a side view, especially since one of the submitted pictures has 9V in side view, so that was a really good reference. I never really noticed until I got a comment about it, but I had posted this piece on Twitter, and I got a reply saying that they rarely see me draw characters in side view, and it made me notice that, yeah, I don't draw characters in side view super often in my videos, but I was also confused because I feel like I draw characters in side view pretty often, and that's when I remembered that these drawings are for my webcomic, so you don't really see them on this channel. So yeah, I don't draw illustrations of characters in side view super often. I think it's because I prefer drawing more of the face instead of just one side of it. But for this character, I felt like this side view was a good fit, and I was hoping to make it look kind of action-y. Also, I'm super happy with how the hair shading turned out. I think it's my favorite in this whole video, even though it was pretty simple. I just applied some highlights with an airbrush and then refined the shape of the blending tool. This was actually based on the hair shading method I used in this video. Also, if you missed it, I posted a bonus video this week, so you can go watch that after this. But yeah, I tried using the same method on this character, and I really liked how it looks. It was really fun adding the extra effects to this picture. I quickly went to the asset library to find a lightning brush to add the lightning coming from her eye. I also added a bunch of particles to the background and motion blurred them to add a feeling of action to the picture. And I feel like it really helps convey this motion. And with that, this picture of 9V is done. This one feels very different from the rest, and I really like it for that reason. Thank you so much, Crazy Rosie, for submitting your character. This character is by Echo Farrier Art, and I actually don't know anything about this character since they only submitted this picture, but he looks really cool and I was excited to draw him. I wanted to try to go with a more mature look and facial structure this time around. I'm going to be honest, I'm not super satisfied with how it turns out. Like, it's okay, but I feel like it could be better, but I also think I'm just being nitpicky. This picture did come down to the wire though. I had to really rush at the end. It's because he has really detailed hair, and so I wanted to try to draw the hair more detailed, but I also didn't have a ton of time. So yeah, I feel like the time limit really got to me for this one. If I were to draw him with a full amount of time, I would have totally went into detail with his hair. Also, I mentioned this briefly at the start of the video, but my manufacturer for the Pariah plush gave an extension for the pre-order period. So if you're wanting a Pariah plush, this is your last chance. They will not be available for sale after the pre-order period ends. You have to pre-order to receive your plush. So yeah, this is your final warning if you're wanting one. I'm hoping we are able to make it to the pre-order amount. If we do, I might be able to make more plushies in the future, but if we don't, I probably won't be able to. So yeah, but thank you so much to everyone who has helped support the project. It means a lot to me. Also, don't feel bad if you're unable to support the project. I totally understand. So for the coloring, I wanted to keep it on the cool side for the colors. So for the shading, I'm using a lot of blues and whites. This character seems to have some form of magical powers, or maybe ice powers. With YouTube submissions, it's always hard for me to make out details because the entries are often low res, so I apologize if there are things I miss. Also, in the future, I may stop accepting submissions on Instagram. The way the hashtag system works on there now does not work well for how I want to use it. I can't just look at the most recent posts under the hashtag, and it's really annoying. I would change the entries to just be direct messages, but in the past when I have tried to do this, not everyone can direct message me for some reason. And I have tried looking at all of my settings, and I don't know why there are some people that can't DM me for some reason when a majority of people can. So yeah, Instagram is always giving me issues. Anyways, here's my drawing of Echo Ferrer Art's character. And I'm sorry if I'm saying your username wrong, but your character is very cool, and I hope you like my drawing of him. Okay, now it's time for the final character. So last but not least, we have Lee, who is created by Luca Yes. Lee loves animals and spends most of his time in the forest. He is quite aloof and doesn't know how to express his feelings and emotions. For my drawing of Lee, I'm kind of just going to redraw this picture in my style because I thought the picture was really cool and very pretty, very demure. Sorry, TikTok has that rent-free in my head. When drawing Lee, I tried to give him similar facial features to the original drawing, so I drew more of a nose and also drew fuller lips. Also, it was hard to tell because once again YouTube submissions are low res, but I think he has some lines or scars by his eyes, so I also included those. I'm sorry if this is incorrect. But what do all of you think about this drawing format? Do you prefer I only draw 2 illustrations that are more detailed and finished? Or do you like these quicker illustrations that allow me to draw more characters? I feel like I like both in their own ways. I do enjoy the process of refining all of the details and adding all the extra rendering. The process overall is often more chill and I can listen to YouTube videos as I draw. So I do like that process. But I also found this process to be very fun since it makes me have to not fuss over details and I can't really worry about making things super neat and perfect. Also, sitting down and getting a drawing done in 45 minutes feels very approachable in a way. Instead of drawing for like an hour and a half or 2 hours, the 45 minutes feels refreshing. I guess it doesn't feel like a big commitment, and if I don't absolutely love the drawing, it feels like it's not that big of a deal because it only took 45 minutes. Compared to if I don't like a piece I spent hours working on, it feels disheartening in a way. But yeah, let me know if you want me to do this format again in the future. If you all enjoy it, I totally will do it again. Drawing Lee was super fun. His hair is so foofy. I loved adding all of the blue lighting and also the glowing effect to his eyes. So here are all the characters I drew in this video. I was able to get 8 characters done and the total amount of footage I have is 5 hours, 44 minutes, and 21 seconds. So just a little under the 6-hour mark. I want to say thank you so much to everyone that submitted characters. I always love looking at them and seeing everyone's creativity. If you'd like to know when I'll be doing this again, consider following me on Twitter or Instagram, or turn on all notifications for the channel so that you're notified when I make a community post announcement. Before we end, I want to say a big thank you to my awesome YouTube members and Patreon patrons for their support. It means so much to me. And thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all next week in my next video. Bye!